approximately 5:23 p.m., we received a 911 phone call of a car fire that was happening inside the visitor parking garage behind us, what they refer to as parking garage number 1 at St. David's Medical Center here at 919 East 32nd Street. The Austin Fire Department arrived on scene very quickly and immediately observed that it was not just an average or normal car fire, that there was something more suspicious involved, and in fact that there was some sort of an explosion that caused the fire. Following protocols, they requested that the Austin Police Department and EMS arrive on scene, which we did shortly afterwards. From that moment forward, all 3 agencies were able to initiate a joint response to this scene to make sure that everybody was safe. There were no injuries involved in this incident. Fortunately, there was nobody around the vehicle when the explosion happened, and we were able to actually locate and identify a subject who has a connection with that vehicle. We have detained that person, and he is cooperating with investigators at this time. That person has a legitimate business need to be at the hospital. We're not able to disclose his identity or what that business need is at this time, but he is cooperating with investigators. It's our intention to determine whether or not this explosion was an intentional act or some sort of an accident. Unfortunately, those answers don't come quick. In order to look through the evidence and be safe and make sure that we don't cause any accidental secondary explosions or miss any evidence in the process, our bomb squad team, our Special Operations Command with the fire department and EMS have to go painstakingly slow to make sure that they're being safe, not to cause any injuries or miss any evidence. We do anticipate that this investigation will be unfolding throughout the night and probably into tomorrow as well. There will be an increased presence of first responder activity throughout the night and into tomorrow. We ask that anybody who doesn't need to be in the area just avoid the area to alleviate traffic congestion that might occur. I will say that the St. David staff has been very, very wonderful and accommodating to all 3 responding agencies, and they have worked with us to devise a plan to communicate to the public. They're on an emergency room diversion, which means they're not accepting any new patients to the emergency room at this time, so ambulances are taking patients elsewhere, and the visiting hours are over, so there's not really a need for anybody to come to the hospital this evening. As the investigation unfolds, we plan on sharing timelines with the hospital, and they're going to be using their own social media channels to communicate with the public, to communicate any sort of potential possible future delays or when the hospital might be open for people to visit their loved ones in the morning. And they're using their internal communications to talk to their own employees about when and where to come to work. Parking Garage 1 is closed down because of the crime scene that occurred due to the explosion. All the other parking garages are open, but they're badge access and available to employees only. We do have an ongoing and cooperative relationship with the ATF and the FBI, and those agencies are here with us tonight to work through this crime scene and make sure that we're not missing anything and provide the answers that we need to determine whether or not this was an intentional or accidental act. Like I said, we are here to answer any questions you might have. Because of the early point in this investigation, there's not a lot that we can answer. Holly and Tom are available for any questions that you might have as well if it relates to them.
If it's determined that this is intentional, what would the next steps be?
So if it's an intentional act, there's obviously going to be a lot of different crimes that are involved with that, and depending on the motive behind what that potential intentionality is would determine the next steps.
An eyewitness said that this was caused because someone left a gas can on the back of their truck. Can y'all confirm or deny?
We're chasing down a lot of rumors. A lot of times when we have eyewitnesses to crimes, a lot of information comes in very quickly, and we want that information because we need that information to try to reconstruct the events. But I think it's important to use the evidence and the facts to verify the information that we receive before we put anything out publicly. I think we have a responsibility to make sure the information is accurate, so it's going to be probably at least till tomorrow, if not further, before we're able to share any information about that.
Do you know when possibly the garage will be open? We know some people are waiting to get to their cars, have to be picked up with Ubers, Lyfts.
Good question. Unfortunately, it's going to be quite some time. You know, we have to make sure that it's safe for them to do so, and even if it's safe for them to do so, it's possible that evidence from this particular incident could be on or next to their vehicle. So we have to make sure that our evidence team can go through and very thoroughly collect that evidence. So I don't anticipate that will happen until at the very earliest tomorrow, but I think you'll see some social media messaging on when that's open again.
Were any other vehicles damaged?
I don't believe so.
Do you have any message to the public? I mean, people may hear what's going on and become concerned. Should they be worried at all?
Good question. You know, we don't have any information right now to suggest that there's an ongoing threat to the public. Everything that we have at this point in time indicates that it's isolated to this event. But like I said, it's an active investigation. We're continuing the investigation through the night. If we determine that there's new information that changes that, we will put that out immediately. I think there was a question.
Parking garage, is anybody else going to be evacuated now, or
None of the hospital was evacuated, but the parking garage was evacuated. None of the other parking garages were touched.
You said the person that you had in custody had business at the hospital. Can you mention whether it was an employee or had family in the hospital?
We're not going to talk about why that person was here. I just wanted to mention it to say that it wasn't like he just came on campus for no reason at all.
Can you speak to the fact, if there was some kind of car fire, car explosion in kind of a close enclosed area, the fact that nobody got hurt is, can you just speak to that?
I think it was very fortunate. We saw the video from inside the parking garage that happened, and if anybody happened to be in the area, it would have been a different message tonight, and I think we were very lucky. All right. Thank you all for coming.